Friday the 13th of 2006, it dawned on me one day when I was separating my paperwork at work. I was sitting at a table. I felt 2 taps on my right shoulder. I looked behind me. Nobody was there. I looked to my right and went, what?
This is Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. We see his hand reaching out to us, attempting to get our attention, inviting us into a closer relationship. Here, we share stories of encounter with angels. Angels, I say, guardian angels. Divine interventions, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences, big and little God incidents. I'm your host, Trapper Jack. Welcome. This would be episode 182. Another good one for you about your angel. You have an angel right there with you. They love this episode already. They've already heard it. Okay, now it's your turn. A couple of stories here about your guardian angels. After all, if you go to work, it's not like your angel staying home watching Netflix, right? They like Netflix and everything, and they love game shows. Family Feud just really amusing. But it's another time, another story. They go with you, and things happen at the workplace. We have 2 stories. One is Richard, and this moment that created the gasp. I mean, the timing had to be so spectacularly perfect to pull this off, and the angel pulled it off beautifully. And then there's, Ashlyn, a registered nurse. We all know that nurses see a lot in hospitals. There's a lot going on there. But this had to do with a coworker looking at Ashlyn, a bit puzzled by what she was seeing. That story is coming up. All right, let's start with Richard and his angel, his workplace.
I'm a uniform service provider. I've been at the same company for 19 years.
And we'll get back there in a minute here. But first, a little background on Richard. Growing up, not much in the faith department, not much of a father figure either.
I saw my father. I only saw him 10, 20 times in my life. It's been 22 years since I've seen him. And he did, one of the times I saw him, I was about 10 years old. He said, he told me that I had 2 older brothers from his first marriage. And again, I was intrigued. Well, what's their name? And he's like, Stephen and Derek. So I said, what? How old are they? When's the last time you've seen them? He hadn't seen them in a few years. And
you had no idea Dad was married before, or there were other kids? Nothing.
No, 10 years old. And I was like,
okay.
I have 2 older half brothers. What? And then in the mid to late 80s, as a teenager, I wondered sometimes walking down the street with my boombox and my mullet.
Good look, buddy. That's a good look. I like it.
I was single in high school for a reason. But I wondered what they look like, what kind of music they listened to, what some of their interests. And, that was like 1987, 1988. So by the time I was in my early 20s, I did reach out to my father's mother, my grandmother, after not talking to her for almost 10 years. And again, I'm about 20 years old, and asked her about my half brothers, Stephen and Derek. And she was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen them in a long time, but I do know that they changed their last name to their adoptive stepfather. And I asked, well, do you know the name? She goes, Jaffreys, Stephen and Derek Jaffreys. And I was intrigued, like, this is before the internet. I couldn't just Google their names or look them up on Facebook.
Given the opportunity, you would have liked to have met them.
Absolutely. I was just, it was that mystery from about 1982 to, at the time, 1992. And I just wondered about them. And it was always in the back burner of my mind, like that mystery, unsolved mystery. I started going to church in 1998 and just was overwhelmed with the atmosphere. Everyone's raising their hand and the music. I got baptized in August 2002 at 30 years old. I'm a uniform service provider. I've been at the same company for 19 years this month, November.
Okay.
And then in January, Friday the 13th of 2006, it dawned on me one day when I was separating my paperwork at work. I was sitting at a table. I felt 2 taps on my right shoulder. I looked behind me. Nobody was there. I looked at this guy, Steve. His last name was Jaffe, not Jaffreys. And I went, oh, wait a second. He has the same body type as our father. And the same shuffle. He can't stand still. Oh my gosh. And there was a few other guys in the room at the same time talking to him, and they had called out his name, Jaffe. And that's when I looked after the 2 taps on my right shoulder.
2 taps and no one was there.
Nobody was behind me. The only, quote, supernatural thing that ever happened to me, and they weren't twitches or anything like that. They were 2 distinct taps. I realized that for 3 years, I had been working with him. My long lost half brother had been working with me for 3 years.
And you guys are kind of working side by side, kind of whatever, doing same stuff.
Exactly. And I couldn't believe my jaw hit the floor. He goes walking into the cafeteria. He goes to the soda or snack machine, puts in a bill. And I go, Steve, do you know who your father is? He goes, no, not really. I know he's got the same last name as you. I went, do you have any brothers? He goes, yeah, I got a brother, Derek. I went, Steve, I'm your brother. Get out of here. He said, my father was a state trooper. And I wrote, yeah, and a Marine in Vietnam. He went, oh my God. And I pointed up and I went, this is a divine appointment. Wow. Again, I was on fire at this time. I had just gotten baptized a few years earlier. I was very involved with ministries. Now, let me just say that I went out to do my route that day, and I came back to the plant to handshakes and hugs. One person was like, that should be on Oprah. But get this, Trapper. Not only did we work together, and I lived 31 miles away, so what are the odds of that? But out of 45 trucks parked in the back lot, we were parked next to each other. He was Route 37, I was Route 39. And out of 5 managers, 10 people on each team, we were on the same team. So we saw each other every week for meetings.
Crazy. I mean, just crazy. For 3 years, you're right there by each other, wondering about this guy.
And what's funny is he kind of annoyed me. I kind of didn't care for him. He was like I don't know. He was the type of guy that would take 20 minutes to get a cashier's check. It's like, come on. He'd leave his keys in the locker all the time and misplace them. He was just, but I just, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but that name, even though it was so close, it wasn't the name that you were given. So that's not him.
Exactly.
It just never. And then that tap that said, "Okay, it's time."
And right as somebody said his name, called out to him, Jaffe, tap tap. Wow. I looked to my right and went, "What?" And I don't know. I was told Jaffrey's. His name's really Jaffe.
Okay, so you're jumping up and down. You're going, "Oh my gosh!" And you know this person, that person. You're going through the whole thing. Then what? Do you go out that night? Do you get together the next day? What do you do?
He was bitter. It was my last name, Savage. He hadn't seen our father since 1980. He asked right away. He's like, "What's our father's problem?" And I told him, I said, he has nothing to offer. It's not you. It's not me. All we can do is, he wasn't a Christian. All I can do is pray for him. And he asked me that a few times over a few years. What's our father's problem?
Did he have a little bit of resentment towards you then?
I think a little bit, just because he had shut off that family from his life. We were still civil. We didn't get together or anything. We weren't best friends, but we did get together one Christmas about 5 years ago for a selfie. We took a photo of each other, standing next to each other. And I made sure our father got that photo.
What about Derek? Did you meet Derek?
No, I know he really didn't talk to his brother that much. And it was unfortunate that we did one time through social media message each other. And we had like a 4-sentence chat, and that was it.
Yeah. And not enough curiosity to keep it going.
On his part, yeah. I was curious. I met his son, which is my half-nephew, at a couple of years ago. 3 years ago, my half-brother got let go from our company. And a year and a half after he got let go, he was found dead by his roommate on the living room floor from a heart attack.
Yeah, Steve died?
Yes, my half brother Steve died 2 years ago. His roommate found him dead when he came home from work on the living room floor from a heart attack. So one of the things about 10 years ago, a few years after found he was my brother, I gave him a Bible track and had the prayer of salvation. I asked him, I said, Steve, do you know if you're going to heaven or not? He goes, I don't know. I said, pray this prayer in your heart, not in your mind, and you're going to heaven. He's like, all right, put it in his pocket. I saw him a few days later and I asked him, I said, Steve, did you say that prayer? He said, yeah. And he nodded and smiled. So I believe he's with the Lord.
Wow, this is it's all so strange, isn't it? It's kind of it's like you're right. It's a movie, but it feels like it doesn't have an ending. I mean, Steve's gone, but and Derek is there, and it's like I don't care, and you're kind of curious, but it's just hanging there, isn't it?
I've had quite the testimony. I looked for him for 20 years, from over 20 years actually. So we got to work together for a good 12 years or so after I found out he was my half brother, and we chatted. We never hung out or anything too much,
Yeah.
but
But to God, and that tap tells you everything. That angelic tap.
oh, absolutely. It's funny you said that, because that's the only thing I can think of. I've been asked, what do you think that was? And I always say, I honestly believe it was an angel that just tap tap right on my back right shoulder.
Why do you think it was important for God that you know?
God gives you the desires of your heart, and if you search, if you knock, He will open. If it just it was that burning mystery I always had for over 20 years, and boom. And I don't know. Or in looking back on it, I mean, that was 2006. I'm sorry. There's been a lot of negative things that have happened since. I've been in valleys and peaks. And when I'm in a valley, I think of that moment that crystallized my faith in God, Jesus Christ, heaven, and angels. It was a miracle that day that happened. And there's been a handful of other synchronicities and divine appointments and God nods. I like to call them God nods.
In that moment, to do what he did, and that the joy that happened in heaven, and for your angel, the joy that you're, even though it didn't maybe have that great fairy tale ending, if you will, but still you got your answer.
I'll see him again. I'll see him again.
Yeah,
absolutely. This life we're on is just a journey to our final destination. That God's still there, even this year. It's happened a couple times. I hadn't seen my stepfather in 5 years, and so I hadn't seen him from 1998. Fast forward 2002. Here I am. I just got baptized. I'm on fire. I keep Bible tracts in my pocket. I'm walking with my son to the park, a local park with the slides and swings. Who do I see in front of me? My stepfather. I've been wondering about and hadn't seen in 5 years. We never got along. He could care less about us three kids growing up. We didn't talk to him. But being a man of faith that I am, I walked up to him, gave him a track. I said, hey, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in like 5 years. And I shook his hand, gave him a Bible track. We made real small talk. He pretty much left after about 5 minutes.
What's this Bible track? An MP3 kind of thing, like audio? What do you mean?
Oh, it's just a little leaflet that you keep in your pocket, and it just talks to the reader about God and how to get to heaven, and it has the salvation prayer in it. It's basically, in a nutshell, to pray that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, and he rose again on the third day and ascended to heaven. And if you believe in him, you'll gain entrance into heaven. It's just declaring that Jesus Christ died for my salvation. Come to find out, he died 2 months after I had saw him and gave him the track. He had hepatitis C, and when I saw him and as I gave him the track, his eyes were just yellow. They had jaundice. He looked, I was like, I didn't know what it was at the time.
Wow.
So again, that was a little synchronicity or whatever, because had him on my heart for a long time. I'd say at least 6 months, and then boom, I run into him.
He found God or not or whatever, but you did something. You did something.
Yeah, I gave him a gift, and it was up to him to open it.
Right.
Because that's salvation is a gift. There's an opportunity for everybody, but a lot of people don't want to open it.
Yeah, I hear you. Wow. At this point, I'm not sure I want you walking towards me, but you're leaving a trail, buddy. I mean, come on.
I know.
What's your takeaway, buddy? What are we walking away with here?
God is real. I was so far away from God 30 years ago, and I did a 180-degree turn, and he just gives you the desires of your heart. He really does. So I founded church just over a year ago, and I've been going ever since. And every day I look for God's blessings.
Thanks, Richard. Angels in the workplace. I love the timing of the angel. Tap, tap, a look, and then hearing, the timing, ding, ding. Beautiful. I mean, just spectacular. Very good. Seek and ye shall find. Now then, before we get to Ashlyn, the registered nurse who has just a terrific story too from the workplace, a quick halftime salute and Patreon shout out to Patreon supporter Alicia Compton. Thanks so much for being in our Patreon family, being an angel, if you will, and helping us out, what we do here on a weekly basis by your monthly support. Thank you so much. You can go to patreon.com, search for Trapper Jack, or come here to episode 182 and just click your way through. Now we get to Ashlyn, a registered nurse, and we know that nurses see so much in the hospital setting. Sometimes those end-of-life collisions of heaven and earth are stunning, and we'll get to those, but in this particular highlight, we have Ashlyn in the workplace, and we have a coworker looking at Ashlyn, trying to figure something out here involving angels. Oh, and you need to know that Ashlyn has a newborn baby, plays a role in all of this as well. Here on Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God.
Definitely didn't know there were so many people that have had experience. Some of the experiences just blow me away. I'll be bawling my eyes out driving sometimes. I'm sure some people looked at me driving next to me like, what the heck? Especially one with babies and children, just since I had a new baby at the time when I first found it.
The baby, where's the baby?
Sleeping, finally. I know, she's teething, so it's been pretty rough.
Oh, so am I. It's tough. I'm so grumpy. I get so ornery. Same thing. How old's your child?
She just turned 1 in September.
Oh, okay.
Riley,
nice.
her name was supposed to be Brooklyn, but she told me in a dream when I was pregnant that is not it. So
Really?
I had multiple dreams throughout my pregnancy just of her, and then one of them was about the name. She did not like the name Brooklyn, which is so funny to me because now that I know her, she's totally not a Brooklyn. You know how people kind of match their names,
I don't know what a Brooklyn looks like. Everyone knows about a bridge. Hey, you look like a bridge.
To me, Brooklyn is like class president, very like scholastic, proper. That's just how I perceive it. And she's very free-spirited, wild child, happy, goofy. That's like Riley to me.
Okay.
She fits it. So she was right.
She was right. Did she tell you Riley?
Riley was kind of one of the ones we had been talking about. And I'm like, okay, like, let me know if that's what you like. And it's kind of weird. So anytime we talk about it too, she would kick me in the stomach. Like, yes, I want that name.
Oh, okay. So Riley was worth a kick. Okay.
Every time we talked about it. Yeah. And then that actually just reminded me, I forgot one. When I was only maybe 7 weeks pregnant, barely pregnant, I just took a test. I had a dream that I opened an envelope and it said it's a girl inside. So from early on, I just always got little things like that. And then my husband, I don't know why he likes to bet against me. He thought it was a boy. I'm like, I had the dream. It's a girl. I don't know why you would bet against me. Literally.
Guys, and literally put money on this? Put money on a boy?
Yes.
Was the bet with you?
It was with me.
Stays in the house anyway. Stays in the house, but.
So what comes next? First time I kind of ever really felt God immensely in my life again was when I had COVID when I was pregnant. That was miserable because you can't have any of the medication, so you have to kind of write it out. But I remember being so out of breath in my bed, just crying to God, please help me. I'm worried about losing my baby, like just bawling. And I literally felt somebody just like hug me. And then I was just instantly relieved. It was just a presence, very strong. It wasn't gender specific to me. It was just everything's okay.
Wow.
Like instantly, I went from sobbing to like comforted. Right when it happened, it freaked me out. And then the peace came over, and you're like, okay, this is a good thing. And I felt a lot better, and everything was okay.
Yeah.
I was completely fine. It took me about a month to fully recover. I was out of work, but she came out completely fine because I was worried. There was no studies about effects on the babies yet, in the womb. So I was worried about her coming out. I just don't know. I was just scared.
This episode is being called Angels in the Workplace. Isn't that a catchy title, don't you think?
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
So this was when I was like barely pregnant. This is even before I like got COVID and everything with the baby. So I had just found out I was pregnant. Obviously, when you're 7 weeks, 8 weeks, you don't show at all. Like, and I obviously didn't tell anybody because it was really early on. And I had just went from night shift in the hospital to day shift. So I didn't know anybody on day shift really. And there was this one woman, I just knew her name, but I didn't know her at all. We've never talked or anything. And she was one of what we call the monitor techs, which means her job is to watch literally all the heart monitors in the entire hospital all day. So she's looking at a big screen and there's heart rhythms that she's monitoring. Very important job. And it was like my only a few days in on day shift. And I remember that day she kept staring at me and I was just kind of like confused. Like maybe she just thought I was new or she didn't know me. But it was like very consistent. And it wasn't like staring at me like curious. It was kind of like she was in thought every time she looked at me. And I'm trying to think like, I was just kind of shy. So I didn't want to go up to her and be like, hey, what are you looking at? At the end of the shift, I saw her kind of making her way over to me. Her name's Gina. She's like, I'm Gina. I'm sorry. I was looking at you. I have a question. I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell you or not because some people think I'm crazy, but I decided that I'm going to tell you or ask you. And she said, I'm just trying to figure out why you have two guardian angels with you. Are you pregnant? And I just immediately was like, oh my gosh, I got chills. I said, yes, I am. I just haven't told anybody. She was like, oh, I was trying to figure out all day. And that's the only thing I could think would be the reason you have two instead of one. She says, everybody usually has one with them. But I noticed you had two. So I was trying to think and I'm like, oh, she must be pregnant.
Wow.
Yes. So I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, and, just know that they know you're scared because of COVID and, you're working in a COVID ICU and you're pregnant, but just know that they are protecting the baby. And I literally was just in tears and it made my whole like year. I was just so happy to hear that. And I totally believed her. And I'm like, people should not think she's crazy for saying that. I just felt bad she didn't want to say it. And I'm like, thank you so much for sharing that because I'm terrified being here. And, it was at the beginning of the pandemic. So it was kind of like we didn't have that much research. So it was very unknown about anything with being pregnant,
Yeah. And did she say where it was?
She said it was just like energies, like lights she could see, like very bright energies. That's kind of all she described it as.
I mean, is that energy around the womb? Or did
she said they were like following me. So I don't know if they were above me or.
Yeah.
She said that they're very close with you though, and they are protecting her. So that was like, I love that. And that was early. That was probably 7 weeks, maybe. Yeah. You've talked before about when do, upon conception, when is the spirit in? I know that's kind of like a big debate, but that thing was probably really strong that early on. I'm sure it was there the whole time because she was like just blown away by that. So
did you have subsequent conversations with her about the topic of what she sees?
Yeah. So I kind of became close with her just because of that, what happened. And she is very, very, kind of like me being in the hospital. You really do see and hear things like that. And she showed me she's got like a couple journals and she writes out prayers for people. She's very nice and very genuine. And, she just said that that's kind of the main thing that she sees is that people have guardian angels following them. that was pretty cool. And I felt very calm at work after that because, I'm sure you've heard we had to reuse masks. We had to reuse the PPE. It was very unsafe.
My daughter became a nurse right into COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's hard.
what an introduction to the nursing world. It's just, and that's
It is.
from day one. It's been
Ouch.
part of her reality. That was at the end of schooling. That was the reality, and it was it's a horrible way to come into
It
nursing.
is, but it will be easy after now. Now that she's done the hard part, it'll be a breeze.
Yeah. Well, we pray.
Where is she working?
She's working in the ED, the ER.
Oh, yes.
But she's
rough.
a trooper. She's very good at it. She's very good at it.
Oh, awesome. That makes me happy because we need people that truly love it. It is a hard job.
Tell you what, let's go back. Were there always angels, shall we say, in your life? Early growing up, was there much faith in the house?
I was raised Methodist Christian, went to Sunday school, went to church, but as you always talk about, you kind of stray away. I feel like in my early 20s, I kind of strayed away, felt like something was missing. And then I kind of got pregnant and I go, when's the last time I prayed? I mean, I prayed for a baby, but when's the last time I actually sat down and did a prayer like I used to do? It's been a while. So I just kind of felt like I had a little piece missing.
So when you were young, there was faith in the house when you began all this then?
Oh, absolutely. My mom is an angel. She actually just got a guardian angel warrior tattooed on her arm. And she's very you'd not expect that of her.
Wow.
She believes that when she moves on from here, she's definitely on the army side of God's team, that she's a warrior. So
a tattoo. Mom got a tattoo?
Yes. I'm covered in them, but she is director at a college, and it shocked all of us. Now she has I think 6-ish, 5-ish. But yeah, the big guardian angel warrior tattoos on her forearm, and it's her pride and joy, and it says sword of the spirit.
Wow. I'm asking the daughter here, does it look good?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She went to my artist, so yes.
Oh, do you have some too?
I have an angel on my back, yeah. But she went to my tattoo artist, so it does look good.
Oh, what do you have on your back? Big, little? What do you have?
Yeah, I have my whole upper back's done, and it says angel energy, and it has some kind of like a cherub angel and some clouds, and just, I try to stay in touch with my guardian angel, and I just feel like angel energy is one of the best ways to kind of go through your day, is surrounding yourself with just good energy.
Wow.
From angels. And
yeah. Are you in your 20s?
I'm 29.
29. Okay. All right. Stay there. It's good age.
I know. I'm dreading the 30th coming up.
So you start wondering as you're pregnant, when was the last time I prayed, and where does that take you?
To pray. Kind of like, hey there, it's me again. It's been a minute. I did pray intermittently, but not it was always like, oh, thank you so much for this, or, oh, I got this job, thank you so much. It was never actually dedicate a little bit of time. And now pretty much every night, because I'm pretty busy with the baby and everything, my husband works night shift. So I take the shower time to actually go through everything I want to say and, say my prayers for people. I always pray for my patients,
You nurses, you are angels. You are, to so many, you really are. I mean, that's, I know not every nurse is the nicest human being on the planet, but there's something in every nurse that got her there because she wants to take care of people. So there's something in there for all of you.
Yes, I totally agree. It's very sacred to be with someone as they pass. And it's taught me a lot about life and a lot about God, and some of the things that these patients go through and see. It's like, how could you not believe in that stuff? I love the stories that you tell about some things people see before they pass, or what they say, or the looks on their face. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen all of that.
Talk about it. What have you seen?
I've had patients see family members in the room, of course, on the ceiling. I used to actually be relieved when they see the family members, because I felt like they would go to a good place, right? They're coming to be with them. I had this one woman who the family was flying in from out of state, just rushing around. And I really didn't think she was going to make it until they got there. And she hung on by a thread, and her eyes opened and everything. And right when they walked in the room, she waved goodbye at them, and they said, "It's okay, Mom, you could go." And she closed her eyes and passed away. So she waited hours for them and then just waved goodbye to them.
Wow.
Or people do the opposite. their family will be there, be there, be there. They're hanging on by a thread. And the second the family steps out, they pass. They don't, they want to be alone.
Yeah.
Don't want their family to, but a lot of people say things again too, like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I was supposed to do this year. And now, so that's really been eye opening in terms of, take that vacation, take your time off, be with your family, because people never ever say on their deathbed they wish they would have worked more shifts or they wish their house would be more clean or no. It's always, I should have seen my grandma again. Or I should have seen my kids again, or I should have made amends with this person, right? It's always kind of like regrets. Like,
if only I had more in the 401k does not come up. It just doesn't come up.
And again, I'm just talking from my experience, but when you're passing away, it's really about family, and people get very humbled, I feel like, sometimes too, especially if they've had bad, some bad times maybe with certain family members. I can tell that they want to make the amends before they pass. I remember you saying that it's hard. God can't forgive us, right, unless we forgive others. That always sticks with me.
That's the Lord's Prayer, isn't it? He's going to forgive us as we forgive, which is frightening. If we're holding that grudge, I don't like the outcome of that one if I don't do what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
So
it's just really brought me, like, it really sparked me to look more into, like, my faith again. There's like one more thing I want to tell you about too. It's about, so I have this baby monitor. Oh man, yeah. Now you can see him all high definition and everything.
It's cool. Wow. Okay. Back in my day, baby monitors the baby made a noise. You heard it in another room. That was a baby monitor.
Yep. Yeah. This is when she was a newborn. When they're new, you're just constantly worried about them, right? A couple months ago, we started seeing orbs in her room. Very bright, just good energy. Like, I first noticed it on the monitor. I have video of it too. And I thought it was a bug, but the way it was flying, it was like up, down very gently. It wasn't flying like a bug would. So I'm like, I'm a nurse, so I do have to, like, prove certain things to myself sometimes. So I was like, I'm going to go in there with a flashlight. So I'm watching this orb on the camera. It's almost like it's going to the ceiling and it's coming down and like kissing her on the cheek almost. It would float right around her cheek and go back up. And then float right around her cheek and go right back up. But you would
only see this on the monitor, right?
Yes. So I went in there with a flashlight one night because I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like not believing my eyes because it was not buzzing around like a fly or something would. It was very smooth, specific movements. So I went in there with the flashlight. Could not see it. I'm literally looking at it on the baby monitor sitting on her cheek, and I have the flashlight on her, and I can't see anything with my eye.
Yeah, and those things show up in what? Photographs and obviously videos.
Yeah, but I'm watching it on video, and it's live, and I'm like, what is it doing? And but again, when things are negative, I can kind of feel it, and it totally was not. It was almost like something was just kind of saying hi and giving her a kiss. It just looks like a bright ball of energy, and it was just kind of grazing her cheek and going up, and then it would just go up and stay.
But when you would see the orbs, it was never like doing the same thing to a windowsill. It was always related to your child?
Oh, no. Yeah, on the video. I'm watching her on the video camera, and it's right there on her.
It's always child-specific. It's something with the child, not anything else in the room or going anywhere else.
Nope. It's always right around her cheek and then up to the ceiling.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and I took video of it on my phone of me recording the baby monitor. And it's just crazy because you go in there with the light and there's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's super bright. It's not like a shadow. It's like very, very, like almost like someone like a, you're more on the East Coast than me. What are they called again? The bugs with the lights on their butts.
Fireflies?
Yeah, fireflies. It was just very bright. Like it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just interesting.
Interesting. Like I say, I don't know what any of that means. I really don't. I don't claim
just like
to know
energy.
Yeah. Interesting. With you, Ashlyn, what's our takeaway in all this? As I like to ask, just as you look at the stories you've told.
So for me, definitely, since it's angels in the workplace, especially nurses and healthcare workers, believe with all your heart that there are angels protecting us there, because it is very scary and very sad right now. And the presence of God, I think, in healthcare settings right now is just immense because of what's going on. And I don't think that we could do what we do without his strength. I have been extremely humbled as a person, a nurse, everything, by watching people go through what they've gone through this year and what families have gone through. And I do think, as you've talked about in your podcast, times are changing. And so it's crucial now that we really turn our focus back to him, because times are scary. So I'm really happy that I was able to find my way back.
Thanks, Ashlyn. Angels in the workplace. And thanks to all the angels like Ashlyn who work in the health industry. And also a nice reminder that, yes, our angels get an early start. Little itty bitty Riley already had her angel, starting very early on. And turn to your angel now. And again, say thank you. You have an angel. We all have angels. In fact, look over your right shoulder. Just look over your right shoulder. I'm sorry, that's my right, your left. I'm sorry, the left shoulder. There, just say hi. Just say hi. Okay, there you go. Thanks so much. All right. Let's see. You have a story, angel or otherwise? Let me know. Near-death experience, vision, prophetic dream. What was it for you? Get a hold of me here at touchedbyheaven.net. And thanks for all the angels who are helping us out through Patreon, patreon.com. Search for Trapper Jack, or come here to episode 182. And we'll do this again here next week at Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack.